important that you see that slide. That's why I was waiting. Just in case you think it was an error, it sets the tone for this morning. Greetings and welcome. I'm Gail Johnson Vaughn, one of your worship associates today, and the other is Tracy Pepper, who is joining us from Zoom as she recuperates from home. You will see for yourself that she's doing really well. She'd hoped to be in the room with us, but her back wasn't quite up to it. But pretty soon, and I'll tell you, her spirit and energy is definitely back. So hi, Tracy, and hi, all the rest of you that are joining us by Zoom and those of you who are in the room. We have people from all over the country joining us from Zoom today, and you will be meeting them soon. So I don't want any of you to miss a moment of today, so please make sure that you turn off your devices. Even if you're joining us remotely, no phone calls, no Zooming to anybody else. We are it. No games. I'm very sorry. And it looks like there's plenty of seats that people who didn't win the parking lottery can find. But if you see somebody, wandering, just scoot in a little bit, and so that they can easily do that. So for those of you who are fans of our presenters this morning, Lindsay Wilson and Jay Exodus Hooper, in case you don't know, we're here in Grass Valley, California. We are the Unitarian Universalist Community of the Mountains, and we welcome you wherever you are, here, there, or someplace out in the cosmos, to join us today. Yes, we welcome you and we bless you for being with us here today. You make this place holy by your presence. Each of all of you and all of each of you. Our welcome is wide and inclusive. It goes to you who are here out of curiosity, out of conviction, out of habit, out of hunger for meaning and connection, and for every other reason that you came to be with us. Whatever your age, your race, your pronouns, your abilities, your disabilities, your physical and mental wellness and challenges, your beliefs, your doubts, your certainties, how you pray or don't pray, we are enriched and blessed by our differences. And I am blessed to be here with you today. And a special welcome to Dr. Jay Exodus Hooper and their special musical partner for today, singer-songwriter Lindsay Wilson, both of whom are joining us from New York City. Jay's humanist perspective is woven throughout his art and ministry. And I'm more than excited to have him here today because Dr. Hooper is still in the glow of a very special honor. On Thursday, he was inducted to the Morehouse College Martin Luther King Jr. Collegium of Laity and Scholars, a huge honor. He shared with me a picture from the photo for this day, and I want you to see. There's Jay right in the middle. Likewise, it's a huge and high honor for Jay and Lindsay to be sharing their time, prioritizing it right now when so much is happening in their very talented and busy lives. So I invite you to listen carefully, to listen deeply, not just with your ears, but with all your senses. As you hear them, experience them, participate with the encouragement to be all that we are meant to be.
Right. Well, good morning on your side of the world. Good afternoon, wherever you are, or evening. May you love yourself in this present moment as we are present together and hold space together. And I want to just say thank you for welcoming me. But let us first do right by the land that we are on, that we acknowledge today where we are located. And I just want to offer this small commitment that we are committed to being in right relationship with the Nisanian, if I say that correct, please somebody correct me, with the Nisanian, the indigenous people of this land who are still here among us today. These Black oats, acorns are a symbol of our commitment. May we take the moment to acknowledge the land that we are on. May we also remember the work and the hands that go into allowing for us to come together. And those hands and those presence are those of our ancestors. We are nothing without our ancestors. And in my experience, I can honestly tell you, and in my culture, we must always not only acknowledge the land, but acknowledge the ancestors. The ancestors are the ones who came before us. They brought with them not only stories, but they brought with them a future. And we are their future. We are their wildest dreams. And so I would like to usher you into a new moment, if you will. Join me in not only just thinking about ancestors, but speaking their names into this space. If you are on our virtual community, I would also invite you to write their names. If you are in the congregational platform, please, by all means, speak them aloud. And we want to honor them. And while that is happening, I will then pour out libations. Libations is a West African practice where we honor and pour out either in a vessel water or grains into another vessel, and honoring the fact that these ancestors have made a way for us. And the Ghanaian proverb, water is life. So we are a part of this circle of life. We are a part of this genealogy of life. And so I would like for you to get in your mind today the ancestor that has held you, that has nurtured you, that saw you not as you were, but in your becoming. Now you may speak the names of those. Thank you. Shay, we have Virginia. Hey, Samantha, Clara, Bonnie, Geneva, Albert, Lauren, Karen, Penny, Sally. Thank you, Ashe. I hear you in the audience. Virginia, Sina, Verdina, George, Thomas, Virginia. If there be not any other names being spoken, for all the names that we know, in the words of Dr. and Reverend Felix Adler, he says best that the dead are not dead if we truly remember them. May they walk alongside you in this journey. May they hold you and your becoming. May they be with you in your thoughts. And may they walk through your eyes and see your future. And for all the names that we do not know, we acknowledge them, we pour them out, And may they fill our life. May they fill our life with wholeness, with beauty, and with meaning. Ashe, ashe, ashe.
Rise and join me as we sing together. 1017, Building a New Way. Members of the choir are going to help us lead this song. Working to be free. We are working to be free. Hate and jealousy. We are working to be free. Our every need. We can feed our every need.
Okay. Now we will have Tracy.
We kindle this flame in expectation, not the expectation that justice will soon prevail, not the expectation that the struggle will soon be won, yet in the expectation that companionship and joy will be ours on our journey. We kindle this flame in community and expectation.
So here is a time where we all are together. And just making sure I'm not missing. Okay, I get it now. All right. Here's a time where we are all together. Wisdom for all ages. And we take this moment to kind of be our youthful self, our vibrant self, our most grounded self. Lindsay, I'm going to ask if you can, I don't know if it's possible. I know Zoom has a problem doing this. We'll see how it works for right now. But if you can just strum me a little something while we get into a state to share this experience together. The artists are here to disturb the peace. Picasso reminds us that we are all artists. We're all born artists. And the part that we have to commit to is remembering that. We are creators. And as we are gathered in this space, in this community, I want to invite you to consider the paper that you have with you and the item, utensil to draw with. And I want to take you through an exercise to be artists with me. Be artists with me today. Here we are gathered almost at a table, if you will, together as a community this Sunday. And I would invite you to draw a table. Draw a table. As you've drawn that table, imagine this table as your community that you are in currently. But this time, my question to you, my artists have the ability to see the things that are not easily seen. They illuminate the things we sometimes hide from ourselves in a normal and daily life. Who is missing from that table that needs to be at this table today? Draw them. Love your stick figures now. Love your stick figures. The people who are missing at the table, you know they're important. You know that they matter. And they should be at this table with you. Because something about you creates space for them. On the table, I want you to name the things that you are serving at the table. What characteristics are you serving at this table today? What characteristics are you serving at the table? Judy Chicago's dinner table, I'm reminded of today. Artists during the modern period makes a table explicitly for women that's shaped like a triangle. There's a name for each plate. each symbolic of each woman's character. It's holding space for women. Who are you holding space for at this table? What characteristics? Imagine this as your prayer. As this time happens. We're almost prepared to say grace, if you will, for this table. We're prepared for love to be served at this table. But some of my dear friends in my virtual community love to share at least one word of characteristics that is at the table today.
Come around to the mic.
Thank you, Gail, so much for that. Openness to spirit at the table. Authenticity is at the table. Willingness is at the table. Passion beyond judgment is at the table. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. Love is at the table. Laughter is at the table. We're creating space as we speak these words. We're creating space as we speak these words. Acceptance is at the table. Revolution is at the table. Gratitude is at the table. Singing at the table. I see so many beautiful hands. So good to see all of you. Gail, if you recall, Gail, if you can give me some of those, because on my end, I can't hear them, but I just want to see if there's any words that resonated, that sounded new. Liberation.
Inquiry. Caring. Partnership.
Hmm.
Babies.
Hmm.
Vision. Peace.
Yes.
Joy and love and an abundant table.
That's better, AB. I can hear you. Yes. Yes. Let us have a moment of meditation, if you will. All these words, these one words, and how the spirit of life just moves on us. These are characteristics of the spirit of life, characteristics that fill us, that allow for us to share in a sense of community, inclusion, evolution, revolution. And as we step into this month of resistance, life and the commitment to do life is an act of resistance because our spirit of life says that we can still go on. Our spirit of life invites us to have love and go beyond judgment. Our spirit of life today allows for us to have acceptance, that we sing with joy a new song, and that we rise to the occasion in the midst of every obstacle, that we look at what's happening in the world around us with information being released about government, concerns about US inflation, the vast experiences of homelessness and disparity in this country. We lean in with gratitude. And we use humor as a resistance to the pain and suffering sometimes just to say, I'm going to keep going forward. We find liberation in that laughter. We find liberation in our patience because the spirit of life requires us to. We came together in relationship and in partnership because the spirit of life. I feed you, you feed me. I am because we are in the spirit of Ubuntu. We are life. And we are interwoven and interconnected. And we find balance in each other. Today, our joy is our resistance, and that we share in it, that inquiry and in questions, and in our curiosity, we find our most holy being. And we engage in finding ways to elicit the best in others.
And Jay, can we sing the children to their...
Oh, yes. And that's what I was going to do after. And I just wanted to offer y'all that meditation. Yes, now we will sing This Little Light of Mine. I am just looking. I'm just making sure that we were in both on the same page, Gail. Sorry, I'm thinking I looked at the wrong email. My apologies, y'all, but it is a thing.
So where we are, just so that you all know, it's amazing. Jay has made time for us in all that he's been doing. And we've created this open space, which,
Oh,
and you are just in your open space, my friend.
thank you. No, that is fine. You know what? I guess I intended to sing the children out after our meditation. So my apologies that did not happen prior. But this is but that was the meditation. And yes, we just sang it actually out the children. Tracy, would you mind doing the reading for us, please? And it will be followed by a song by Lindsay Wilson.
Absolutely. Art has to be a kind of confession. I don't mean a true confession in the sense of that Jury magazine. The effort, it seems to me, is if you can examine and face your life, you can discover the terms with which you are connected to other lives, and they discover them too, the terms with which they are connected to other people. This has happened to every one of us, I'm sure. You read something which you thought only happened to you, and you discovered it happened 100 years ago to Dostoevsky. This is a very great liberation for the suffering, struggling person who always thinks they are alone. This is why art is important. Art would not be important if life were not important, and life is important. Most of us, no matter what we say, are walking in the dark, whistling in the dark. Nobody knows what is going to happen to them from one moment to the next, or how one will bear it. This is irreducible, and it's true for everyone. Now, it is true that the nature of society is to create among its citizens an illusion of safety, but it is also absolutely true that the safety is always necessarily an illusion. Artists are here to disturb the peace. They have to disturb the peace. Otherwise, chaos.
We are stars in the sky, and I am a star just like you. As stars we shine together, 'cause that's what stars do. Yes, that's what stars do. We shine. We shine so brightly. We shine with purpose, don't we? That's what stars do. We are stars in the sky. We are stars, so true. And stars we shine forever, 'cause that's what stars do. Yes, that's what stars do. We shine like constellations. It's true. That's what stars do. We shine.
Thank you, Lindsay, for that selection. Thank you, Tracy, so much for the reading of this material. I am a Baldwinian scholar, and it gives me great pleasure to always share that, because there's something about James Baldwin that just really works with me. And it's beyond just the Black free thinking framing that he offers us. It is beyond James's ability to speak about being gay and Black in America. I think sometimes it's his ability to lean in as the artist and create the kind of life, if you will, in the words of Lucille Clifton, that in some way he created the kind of life that you had no choice but to celebrate. In the midst of the chaos, Baldwin was busy creating beauty out of the chaos. He was pointing to the ugly, but making it into something beautiful. We probably find that a little strange, but that is a possibility. In Japanese pottery and in Japanese aesthetic, there is a framing called wabi-sabi, which is to look at something ugly and find beauty. how many of us have ever gone through that? That we have actually looked at something that is unpleasant and found beauty, that we have looked at struggle and found freedom? Have we have ever looked at moments of failure and defeat and said, I'm going to make it into beauty? Failure becomes success in those present moments. Baldwin offers us a moment in this interview that he gives, in this full quote. He offers us the moment that art has to be a kind of confession. And I don't mean a true confession, he says, in the sense of a dreary magazine. If you can examine and face your life, you can discover the term with which you are connected to others' lives. And they can discover them too. Now, I'm sure you're looking at somebody next to you and you probably think that they know you well. You probably sit next to them possibly every Sunday. You've probably gotten very used to seeing the same people on Zoom, and you've probably made some really good connections and have really healthy fellowships. But can I invite you to discover the person next to you a little bit more? Can I invite you to not only just know them by the features, but can I invite you to know them not only by their character, but but actually get to know them by their becoming? What do you see for them? How they glow. We are stars, as the songwriter just said. We are stars. And the making of stars is something that we have to consider, that in some way, somehow, what makes you shine, baby, is what I'm asking you. If you're looking at each other, you probably are realizing that you probably have dust off. If you feel a little dim today, I need you to dust that off. There are some things that probably tried to block you today. I need you to dust that off. Your shine matters today. You need to bring the brilliance. Bring your shine, bring your splendor, because that is the goal of making things literally out of every situation that you go through, making it look like it glitters like gold. You are shining today. It is the confession that I am not feeling at my best. I might be tired. I just did probably about 2 different flights and a train ride and 3 hours over here and 6 hours there. And no matter how tired I am, I'm going to shine. It is not sitting in the creative moments. You have to, it's not just sitting in creative moments to, as Baldwin said, as an illusion. Reality still exists. For those who are on the margins, reality still exists. For those sitting in moments in the hospital, reality still exists. For those facing sickness and concerns, financial issues, that is it. Those are realities. But what would you do just to create out of the cosmos, out of the chaos? What would you do to find creation out of the chaos? May I disturb your peace? May I, just for a moment, just interpolate for a second to allow for us to sometimes having to sit in our discomfort and do the part of the artist. The part of the artist, in the words of Rhino Niebuhr, says the following: that people without an imagination have no right to communicate ultimate things. Rhino Niebuhr was a German theologian and philosopher. And he writes and he says, people without an imagination have no right to communicate ultimate things. When I look at the systems that we are living in, and I consider the political stratosphere and the social disenfranchisement of so many Black and brown and immigrants and those dealing with trans legislation bills and seeing this violence, I have to ask the question, where are the artists? Where are the artists? Justice requires a reimagining. And if we really want to consider liberation, liberation requires for folk to live in their most creative and authentic self. Liberation is the moment that the artist steps in, doesn't just step into the studio, but steps out on the stage. What is your stage? Have you thought about that? Have you thought about the stage of life that you are in? Have you considered how you create the moment to disrupt the social or political narratives that are being thrown across the airwaves? I'm sure it's hard to reimagine. But if I can push on you for a minute, I want to leave you with some essential things in order to start disrupting the piece. This piece that James Baldwin is talking about is a piece rooted in complacency. He's not talking about a piece that's rooted in a kind of, if you will, he's not interested in maintaining the status quo of peace. He's not interested in having a space that we can recognize. He's asking us to sit with the discomfort where we often lean into, some folk love to demonize difference. Demonizing difference is often what happens in our world. We see something that is different from us, we demonize it. We shun it. We shut it down. We would also hope that in some way it doesn't exist. And that hope is the moment where we literally need to do some reevaluation. Hope is the first thing that I want to implement with regards to disruption. Every formation of struggle and suffering, if you are an ally, even for those who are in the trenches, hope is the main ingredient to disturb. It is the audacity, as the words of Obama would write, the audacity of hope to think beyond what our social status says. It is being able to question the power that be and ask for more. It is being able to do the prophetic work. For those who are familiar with Bayard Rustin, using his Quaker background, he said, "We speak truth to power." That is the prophetic work of hope, being able to speak truth to power. But might I add, the artist goes even further to not only speak truth to power, but to speak truth to possibility. Hope is the first framing to disrupt, but possibility is the second. Possibility creates an idea around fantasy. And some folk fantasy may make you nervous. The first time you hear fantasy, you begin to almost finesse your mind with ideals around sensuality. And there's nothing wrong with being sensual, but fantasy engages what Audre Lorde offers us, which is the idea that self-care is not self-indulgence. It is an act of political warfare. Fantasy rests there in the self-care. It is there as a pro-pleasure agent, because that's what possibility does. It engages our fantasy. It speaks to our ideals. It turns our humanity into divinity and allows for us to show up in our beautiful shine. And it calls us to be holy. Holy as in beautiful, holy as in affirmed, holy as in full, holy enough to say that I am enough. It is possibility that says that I am full of potential and that I am full of all of the things that I know I am capable of. When we consider how the artist disturbs the peace, hope is one, possibility is the second. And yes, fantasy and pleasure are a part of possibility. But the artist, in order to disturb the peace, must manifest. It's got to have some fruition. They've got to make things exist. No artist ever looks at the void and says nothing can happen here. The artist looks and speaks creativity. Might I offer this insight? In a sacred text, there is a story about an artist. And this artist named Obadiah is building temples and appointed to build temples. And as a result of wanting to build the temple, the spirit of life speaks to him and reminds him that he is able to build this temple because he has the spirit and knowledge to work in all manners of workmanship. Now watch this. The interesting thing in this sacred text, if you want to check it out, for those who are biblically friendly, Exodus 31, very fascinating moment. It's not just that he's filled with the spirit to work in all manners of workmanship. Watch this. If we understand the spirit of possibility in this moment, hope in this moment, hope for a community, possibility for a community, this artist is given the task and filled with the spirit and knowledge to work in all manners of workmanship to this one point where he builds everything with the cutting of stones, brass, fabric, and so on and so forth, all to allow for the community to feel like something was cultivated for them. He manifested, but he doesn't manifest it from sacred texts. He doesn't just manifest it by doing. He manifested by speaking. He manifested by speaking and using his ability and his fullness, his enoughness. If you can look at your neighbor to your left or right, his enoughness, right? Look, I got enough. I am enough. Look, we got to know that we are enough to make these things happen. Look, my virtual community, right? We are enough, right? Right. Even if we virtual, we still got presence. Tells I see you. When we say that, when we're in African-based communities, we should be able to say, we say ashe. It's the happening. You are my happening, honey, all day, every day, right? So when you look at somebody and their enoughness, right, you're not just speaking, you are showing off and showing up. What does it feel like to fully be seen? It's disruption. Because in the words of Lucille Clifton, come celebrate with me that every time something has tried to kill me and has failed, it is a real moment of resistance. It is a real moment of disruption. When everybody else told me no, something about the persistence of possibilities and hopes within me helped me manifest my yes. There is something about the need to think about and ask all the certain questions and the logistics. Look, for my dear humanist friends who I work with on a daily, we love evidence. So we love to show up and show off. And if it doesn't work the first time, we're going to find out why. Because we are firm believers in evidence and the need to allow for it to show how we manifest. When we put forth this kind of creative ingenuity, this creative kind of intellect, we can begin, in the words of Rhino Niebuhr, to communicate ultimate things. When we embark on hope, we are already in the process of acting as agents of resistance. When we begin to take the front lines regarding anti-trans bills, we are already on the front lines of hope. We are already, when we begin to think about the possibilities that can be created out of legislation and calling our governors and senators to order, we would not see the situations we see in Tennessee because possibility says that I'm an agent of resistance. I hope you're sitting next to an agent of resistance. I really hope that you're sitting next to the artist who's willing to disturb the peace, because I'm inviting you to do just that. That every time you see hate show up at the front door, every time you see discrimination show up at the front door, every time that you feel that love is not being served at your table, or you feel like acceptance is not at the table, or any time that you feel like judgment is sitting right there you do yourself a favor and be resistance. Be the artist that disturbs the peace. Let us be, in the words of Baldwin, a true nature of society that wants to create. And create not for the sake of ourselves, but for the sake of others. No one should have to live in an illusion of destruction, of despair. Those are facades. Your greatest adversaries, let them have their hating, if you will. Let haters hate. Let people peep, okay? People be peopling, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. But the truth of the matter is that they don't have to be an illusion. They really are resting in an illusion about the gifts that you really bring. They're an illusion about the gifts and the offerings that you really contribute. You are filled, my friends, with poetry. You are lyrical artistry in the earth. You are music and rhythm every time you reach out and touch somebody. Your hug is the drumbeat to somebody else's life. Disturb the peace. You are painting pictures of what love looks like. You are disturbing the peace. You are dancing and navigating troubled waters. Maybe dancing your way out of family histories that do not reflect who you are today. You are choreographers. You are disturbing the peace. Maybe 2 years ago, maybe just a month ago, you had a realization and an epiphany. Guess what? You're already disturbing the peace because you're thinking about how change is going to come. We cannot afford any more chaos. So I invite you to stir the peace with your own creative, cosmological practice and disturb the peace. I love you. I hope that you will create change with me and curate it as well.
Thank you, Jay. Dr. Hooper, what an amazing opportunity we have today to have this time with them. So as Jay said, James Baldwin told us that the artists are here to disturb the peace. We have to disturb the peace, otherwise chaos. UUCM is a work of art, ever emerging, ever evolving to grow into this moment. Art in action is why we exist. Art in all forms, made by those we call artists, art made through the work of our teams, of our committees, of our soul circles, of our friendships, of our conflicts, of our solutions, of our mistakes. Art made by you being you and me being me. It feeds our spirits, it inspires our impulses to act for justice. It brings us together as friends, as seekers, as activists, as dynamic change makers on the path of being all we are meant to be. Our weekly ritual of passing these baskets to receive your gifts is a piece of how we make this art. Our Share the Plate partner this month is Citizens for Choice. Founded in 1989, their primary focus was and is protecting a woman's right to make medical decisions regarding her body in private and in non-judgmental environment. Never before has their work been more important. 25% of our gifts today will go to support their work. If you would prefer that 100% of your gifts go there, then please place them in the white baskets as they come around. Allison will now tell us the many ways you can give.
Your generosity remains essential to our ability to sustain the work of our community. There are several ways to contribute. You may text an amount to 833-579-0483, give via our website at uugrassvalley.org, via PayPal at paypal.me/UUCM, or mail to UUCM 246 South Church Street, Grass Valley, California, 95945.
Built myself a rowboat to get me to the other side. Then it occurred to me, I think I might want some company. So I called my brothers from another mother, called my sisters to come on board. Grab an oar and let's row together now, for we're all in the same boat now. Well, I think there's trouble in paradise. Heard things about me that weren't quite nice, about how I'm going against the grain. Seems like it's causing a lot of pain. But I beg my family, don't fear all the calamities. Calamities pass, surely they won't last. Just grabbing my courage and learning to stand my ground, for we're all in the same boat now. Ooh, yeah, yeah, ooh. Built myself a rowboat to get me to the other side. Then it occurred to me, Maybe you might wanna be my company. So, calling all brothers from another mother, my beautiful sisters, come on board. Grab an oar and let's row together now. For we're all in the same boat now. And we'll have to stay afloat somehow. 'Cause we're all in the same boat now. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Ooh, we're all in the same boat now. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And Gail, I see that you're up next, so please.
Thank you. Thank you all for your generosity today. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Tracy, for being with us in these important ways. We dedicate these gifts to the art that lives in actions in each of you as you manifest through your life, through your words, through your actions, through your friendships, through your conflicts. What is possible? Liberation to others is liberation to ourselves. May it be so. We have a lot of people to thank, as always. I want to call out especially our tech savant, Cypress, who has been missed several weeks. In case you don't know Cypress, he has to stand up a little bit taller because he is 12 years old and he is holding it together back there. Woo-hoo! And our wonderful staff that just weaves it all together. Thank you all for being part of this. Each of you are part of it as well. Bunch of things coming up. The third Sundays, UU 101, if you're curious about what this is all about. Ministers Tea. So our ministers in Florida, Jay and Lindsay are in New York. We are truly a national group. Wine tasting coming up. Lots of fun, lots of goodies. And if you want to know more about a whole lot of things, go to uugrassvalley.org. You're going to be glad. Just kind of explore around. It's there. And with that, we're going to close with the wonderful Holly Near song, We Are a Gentle, Angry People. When Jay suggested this, I was thrilled because she's one of my favorites. So as you stand, as you're willing and able in spirit or body, and join us in singing, We Are a Gentle, Angry People.
We are gentle. We are angry. But we are also loving and peaceful. How beautiful and complex we are. That is just a sign of our agency to know who we are. And as I offer these closing words, I offer you this. Go. Be in possibility. Go. Create justice. Create love. Be the way to peace. Be the truth of peace. Be the light of peace. But let I remind you, don't forget to disturb the peace.
Amen. We will, as we carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again. So be it. Goodies in the back, please join us. And thank you to everyone who's here.